Kim, what are some actionable steps for, I'm going to say, academy owners, martial arts school owners? What are some steps that they can take to kind of, combat a situation happening like we've been talking about?
I don't know the setup. I'm trying to remember back to Alliance. I'm not sure how many,
Uh,
if there were windows and things, because it was up on that second story. But the biggest thing, anybody who's going to work with kids can do is to make sure that their place is observable and interruptible. The days of violin lessons in a soundproof room are probably over, and that's to the benefit of both the instructor and the student. Schools, whether it's a martial arts or a regular school, will have windows in the door, windows around. You got to be able to see in. It has to be at any time somebody can walk in and see it. That's probably the number one thing. It would be also to have some sort of training, some sort of protocol that every staff member, every parent, and the kids understand that nobody should be seeing them one-on-one. And if they do, it is, just take them off over to the corner to have a conversation about, you should or shouldn't be doing this or that, but that it's right over there. Everybody can see. It doesn't have to be something, behind the door, lock the door, close, just this one-on-one stuff. So that's the biggest number one. Those one-on-one situations just need to be interruptible and observable at all times. And it's sad, but it's necessary.
that's one thing I really took from the training was always having some type of partner. So me and Darren, we always worked together. It was never me with a kid by myself. It was always at least a parent or someone. Clinton, the front desk guy, the manager, would be there. So we always did a good job of doing that. And then we had cameras in addition to having windows,
right,
that you could look into.
Yeah, and again, if everybody's on the same page in that facility, then it's really going to be very difficult for somebody to try to get away with anything.
And how effective are background checks, Kim?
They're effective. I would never say don't do them. The glitch is they're only as good as the ones that have been caught, So unfortunately, there's that history with in the churches. They would find out about something, and instead of deal with it, they would just sort of pass them along to a new place to work. That didn't go over so well. That never really changed behavior. So the background checks, they should always be had. They're only as good as the ones that have been caught. I would think that more often than not, having a conversation with their past employer. I mean, let's just take the martial arts industry in that kind of situation. Who did they work for before? Maybe even interview some of the parents that person taught, and just see, is there a good feel? Did these people like them? Did they get a sketchy feeling? Stuff like that. It's when we have to become more creative on the questions we ask and the answers we get. I'm not in HR. I don't understand like employment law. What I've heard is you probably couldn't just say, yes, Mr. X was accused, but nothing ever happened. I don't think you can say that. But I do believe people can say things like they weren't a fit and we probably wouldn't hire them back. I think there's like verbiage that people can use to sort of say, yeah, no, don't do that. But to take those background checks and those interviews a step further is probably a really good idea. Also, identity changes and stuff like that. They could have been caught in Missouri and now they're looking for a job in Florida under a middle name, not a first name. You just have to get very thorough with who's around kids.
I just want to say most academies don't do background checks.
And then open field.
Yeah, and then even if they do background checks, they don't they don't always they might background check the instructors, but they don't background check the owners. And I said earlier, like a lot of times it's the owners of the school. So that's something that I think we need to do a better job of doing, like stay on top of.
Yeah, that's I'm sure that would be just a simple, internet search sometimes of somebody's name. And there are people that accuse other people and things didn't happen, and it happens. But if you're going to be looking for anybody to be around your kid, I think you really need to go the extra step and do a search of the people in charge.
This is so we talked a little bit about kids and a little bit about teenagers. So I'm skewing this a little bit older. So in jiu-jitsu, it's pretty, I'm going to say it's very common that instructors will end up dating their students. And there's been, it's very common that instructors will date their students. What could, what do you think that's a good or bad thing, Kim? I mean, they're I'm assuming they're adults. Let's assume they're adults, but I just want to get your opinion on instructors dating.
Yeah. That's never a good idea. That's a power play. Kind of back to a certain president that was with an intern. Yeah, she was of consenting age, but he was in a more powerful position. That's just never good. If you want to date your student, you make sure that they get to the next level and they are no longer your student, and you go about your dating that way. But never in a power situation is it a good idea for, even in the corporate world. I mean, there's corporate policies about that. You can't be married to your direct report and all that stuff. Sometimes they even take it, large corporations, you can't even work under the same vice president, so I don't know why that kind of structure couldn't be implemented in another kind of field. You can date a student of another school, but it's probably not a good idea to date your own.
You guys heard that, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want anybody attacking me in the comments.